Okay, you heard the letter. You may have even had a copy of it sent to you. And basically, there are some issues there that need to be addressed. You can start where you want, or you want me to sort them out for you.
I'd be more than happy to answer anybody's questions. I do want to preface this by saying that the chief and the captain are in the process of developing a plan. They're putting it together to specifically target problem areas that we would consider hotspots, since with the upcoming warm months approaching. He's getting input from all the relief supervisors, CIS, the detectives, and the drug unit. So that's being formulated at this time. He's going to gather the information, put a plan together, and make sure that the entire police department is aware of what the goals are, the areas to be targeted. That's not to say that we're looking to neglect or shy away from any other area. These are simply problem areas that we feel that need to be addressed. And if anybody in the administration or council has problem areas that they think need to be addressed by the police department, we'd be more than happy to get that information and take it into consideration and do whatever it takes to get it taken care of.
Okay, is that something that's done yearly about this time? You evaluate the neighborhoods or locations? And
anytime an issue is brought to our attention that somebody feels it's not being addressed, we try to address it right away. However, runs and incidents do pick up in the warmer months simply because there's more activity outside. So people tend to see things that they normally wouldn't see during the winter months. So yeah, it would call it seasonal, but that's not to say that stuff is not going on during the colder months.
okay. And there's one item that kind of jumped off the page at me about the low number of police patrols in South Norwood's neighborhood. It seems like the only place you're sitting is med pace.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know. I don't believe that to be true. I've got a compilation of traffic violations over the months of February, March, and April, and it includes the number of traffic stops, the number of citations, number of violations and cautions for those months. And I don't believe them to be out of sync with any other part of the city. This is to beat one, which consists of areas east of Montgomery Road, south of 562, and north of Williams. So, but again, we don't think we're cheating any other part of the city, that or any part of the city for that matter. I think we're patrolling in a manner that covers the entire city. So.
And normally, when there are problems, you depend on the citizens to call and report these so that you know what is going on rather than just sitting on the street looking for a problem.
Yeah, I mean, and we've been discussing that. We're trying to, we're in the midst of organizing the Citizens on Patrol. And that's one thing I emphasize at every meeting. It's citizen participation. If we don't get we're out there on the streets, we're patrolling. But we don't see or hear or catch everything. And we need citizen participation. If they don't call when they see something occurring, we can't do anything about it. If we don't know what's going on, and they do, they need to tell us. I mean, they need to step up to the plate and do that. And I understand there are some citizens who are afraid, elderly citizens are afraid of retaliation. That was brought up at some of the meetings, and I told them, I said, I understand that, and that's why we have the Block Watch program. That's an anonymous way of making ways to call in. You're assigned a number, and that's the anonymity part. So I mean, there are ways to call in. If you're afraid of retaliation, or something to that effect. But it's not, we need the calls. We want the citizens' participation, and that's why we're trying to get this Citizens on Patrol Neighborhood Watch program started. and because it starts with the citizens.
Any questions, Mr. Schneider?
You're saying beat 1 is sort of that area over there, Ashland Avenue, Lafayette, Monroe, all those. I'm under the impression there are 4 beats,
Yes.
and there are 4 guys that are on patrol pretty much 24/7.
We have minimum staffing levels, and that is 5 patrol personnel between the hours of 3 a.m. and 8 p.m., and then 6 personnel between the hours of 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. Okay? That will consist of a supervisor and as many beats covered as possible. And on average, all 4 beats are covered. There are times where if we do go down to the minimum levels, if there's 2 supervisors working, there will only be 3 beats covered. However, 2 officers will split depending on how the supervisor feels the need. Normally beats 1, 2, and 3 are covered, with beat 4 in the south end, south of Williams Avenue, being split by the beat 2 and beat 1 car. If that answers your question.
Sure, that answers some of it. Out of the 4 beats, what beat would you say is the most, I guess, gives you the most problems, or you see the most runs to? You've got information on that?
I don't have a breakdown of what beat 3. Okay, according to TA, beat 3 is the busiest. It's also the largest.
The captain just ran a report, and beat 3 is the busiest.
Where's beat 3 at?
That is north of 562.
562.
So the whole, everything north of 562 is 1 beat?
Yes.
I would imagine it has to do somewhat with the time of the day, as far as the amount of runs and trouble you would experience.
Yes. Second shift is the busiest time of day usually, and we also, that's why we have the minimum staffing levels between 8 and 3 at 6. Those are your peak hours for trouble runs. But and if you look at second shift, that's why, you know, the last half of second shift and the first half of third shift are the busiest. That's why we have the levels up higher at those times. Those are the peak times. We want the most officers out on the street.
All right, Mike, if I can, my concern is that, and I think the mayor said many times that sometimes when this stuff occurs in a neighborhood, you get to know the people who are doing it, and those are the people you got to call in for. I know in our neighborhood back in the 70s, we had somebody going through cars, and the police knew who it was. Every resident around there knew who it was. It was just a matter of time of catching them and staying on top of it. But I like the fact that you have this plan coming out that's going to address some of the hot spots, and that you're taking a proactive approach to the warm months, because that's going to be helpful.
Right, and again, like I said, it's citizen participation. I can't emphasize that enough. If you see something or you need a police officer to meet you and discuss something with you, feel free to call. And even if it's a non-emergency, there's a non-emergency number, and that's what it's there for. I don't feel it's an emergency, but I'd like to speak to an officer about things I've been seeing going on, you know. And I tell people, if you think it's suspicious, it more than likely is. It's a gut feeling. I mean, I'd rather have the officers respond and find it not to be anything than not have a citizen call and find out we just had, like you said, you know, several cars broken into. Well, I saw the guy walking down the street, and when I turned my light on, he ducked down behind the car. Well, that's, yeah, I call on that. Now, it could have been just a neighbor playing a prank on a friend or something like that, but, you know, I'd rather find that out now than find out later that it was somebody actually breaking into a car.
First, would you want to give that non-emergency number?
Yes, it's 458-4520. That's a non-emergency number to dispatch.
Now, let me ask you real quick.